with Liz Gale. Messy, fun, raw, real. Let's get into it.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Confessions of an Ex-Scientologist with me, Liz Gale, your friendly and messy third generation ex-Scientologist. Today, we may have two confessions of two ex-Scientologists because we have Amir on today. And I will bring him up here in just a second. I wanted to let you guys know that Amir is a fellow Scientology survivor, and many of you may be familiar with him, but we're going to kind of start at the beginning, and then, like always, we're just going to chat. So please put any questions and comments into the chat, and I do see you all. I see you all in the chat. Of course, I'm wearing green. All right, let's get Amir on here. Let's see what color shirt Amir is wearing today. Hey!
Hey, Liz, how are you?
Good. Oh, I should have told the audience that you and I have never spoken before.
No, I mean we've texted a few times, but
Yeah.
that's really it.
Yeah, about just chatting. So we have, well, that's not true. You did actually send me a sweet text the other day about my brother. So I did appreciate that.
Yeah,
But yeah.
absolutely.
So do you want to tell a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, not really fancy with the color
Oh
shirt
yeah,
today.
we didn't follow through. The black shirt.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with a black shirt. It always looks good.
I know. So okay, where to kick it off from?
Where are you in the world? How about that?
Well, I'm over in the UK, in Scotland. So I'm in the capital in Edinburgh. That's where I studied. That's where I did my theatre, football. That's where I went to the organization when I was first going there in 2022. So that's basically where I'm based right now. I guess it kind of kicks off kind of 2022-ish. So like end of 22, I think. I used to play football all the time, and I used like soccer. Sorry, get
The
that right, you
translation
guys.
happened in my mind.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, football.
Yeah, football, exactly, Liz, you know it. So I used to play football all the time, and I used to I got into film, I got into theater, and I was doing that. So I kind of became like this really, really big movie fan. Um, in my late teenage years and whatnot, and then I simply heard of it from a gentleman that we know of, named Mr. Cruise, Mr. Tom Cruise. I didn't know about like an L. Ron Hubbard. I didn't know about LRH. I didn't know about David Miscavige. I didn't know about a C organization. I didn't know about seniors and rankings, and I didn't know about any of that stuff. Like all I knew was, oh yeah, Tom Cruise is a Scientologist. Fair enough. Like that as far as my knowledge went. That's all I knew. And I consider myself to be quite an open-minded, curious guy. And you know, especially if you're like your art and you like your music and you like your painting and dancing and films and you know all the different art forms, you kind of find people quite fascinating. You find life quite fascinating. You find just everything in general quite interesting, and you're quite down to learn, whether you're a writer or whatever. So it just piqued my curiosity, and I really wanted to learn. And Tom is such a big advocate of it. I mean, just the way he speaks about it. So I was like, all right, bet I'm gonna go in. So I went in for the very first time, kind of, you know, end of 2022. I did a personality test, and then I did a stress test, and I didn't buy anything. I didn't, you know, despite the guy trying to sell me stuff, I didn't buy anything at all. And the org, obviously we refer to it as an org, right? But an org, the org was quite empty because I didn't know this at the time, but these guys were all in Florida for training, this massive mega FEBC training that they were doing in Clearwater, Florida. So the org wasn't full at all. Anyway, I went away, finished school, came back in 2023, and then eventually I bought a book. And I kind of, this is like a dream for them, by the way, because they don't have to just give me a flyer or go and get me from the street. Like I am coming in willing to learn, this is an absolute, I can't tell you, it is a dream situation for Scientology to have a curious guy keep walking in and out. So anyway, I came in and I was like, kind of treated it like a library, and I was like, do you mind if I just browse around and see if there's anything that might interest me? Um, so I kind of walked around, and I think I found a few little booklets. They were really cheap, and they were on
Mhm.
different subjects about toxic people, about all that, right, all that kind of stuff. I
Mhm.
bought a few. I think I bought four. I read them again, went away, came back in 2024. This time it was kind of a lot more full than it was before because these guys had returned from their mega training in Clearwater.
Mhm.
Um, and then I started attending a lot more, and these guys were a lot more aggressive. And so I started doing courses that time, and I kind of set a record. There's a thing called life improvement courses, and it's each course is about £34, 34
Mhm.
Great British pounds. I don't know how many dollars. I think it's $60, $60 or
Mhm.
something. So it wasn't that bad. So I was doing three a week, and then there was just because and the whole you as an immortal spiritual that never once appealed to me. It was more Tom loves it, and how can I use it to help in my life or in film or in just in general. So I was doing life improvement courses on, again, toxic people, again, on how to manage money and finances, again, on how to run a business, again, on personal integrity, which is which is when you're introduced to
Let's
which
talk
is
about
when
that in a little bit here. Yeah.
when you're
That's a good
introduced to
one.
that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was doing 3 a week, and there happened to be a flag mission where
Oh.
there was Commodores, there was CMO, Commodores Messengers, there was guys international management training. So they, when they saw me doing that, it's kind of rare. And I was, okay, I'm finished, I'll sign up. Okay, I'm finished, I'll sign up. It's like a complete, I don't know how to convey how much of a dream that is. You don't have to sit down with me and sign me up for it's like, okay, I'm ready. Boom, what's the next one? Boom, what's the next one? I was like
Right.
regging myself, selling myself these courses. As I was just so curious and I wanted to learn everything.
Right.
Um, so this was a dream for them. And it's very interesting. See when you want to boil down their motives and how these guys think. And I learned this as well later on, when I was coming to the time when I was leaving. They, I swear, with these guys, they either want your wallet or you to sign a contract. They want your life or your money. That is the
Yeah.
only two things that they want. And so
You're a product,
it's
you're a statistic.
you are literally a statistic.
Yeah.
Literally, every time you have an interview, you're a statistic. Every
Yep.
time you pay in money, you're a statistic. Every
Mhm.
time you buy a book, you're a
Every time you
statistic.
walk in the building, you are technically a body in the shop. That is a
Yeah.
statistic of the org. I mean, it
Yes.
wasn't mine. I will before you keep telling, just so you know,
Yeah.
I was actually the PES for a short period of time, public executive
Yeah.
secretary. We both held the same post. So
Yeah.
I'm getting like viscerals of these pamphlets and I'm right there with you. Okay, keep going.
Well, actually, Liz, you would have been my senior later on because I got
Mhm.
transferred to the PCS.
Okay.
So that's actually really interesting. But
Well, you
yeah,
know
that
that they appoint people at the highest position, and then if you don't
from
do
the top
well,
down.
they from the top down, which is that's different than pretty much anywhere else in the real world. You start at the
Yeah.
bottom unless you're like a nepo baby, but you start at the bottom and you earn
Yeah.
the right to get promotions, and then when you get handed these huge roles at that point, the idea is that you have become competent and skilled over time and you can handle it. It's very different for to come in and they're like, boom, you are an executive at this organization. Good luck.
Well, there's LRH policy right there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
um,
Okay. So
but yeah,
you bought your pamphlets and you're a dream. They're just salivating for you. That's
yeah,
where we
yeah,
left the
yeah. I
story.
mean, like the CMO and like the
Mhm.
Commodore's messengers and the guys from St. Hill called me a gem because it's so incredibly rare for someone to walk in and out, in and out, in and out through this moment in time and just sign
Right.
himself up for all these courses. It's like they didn't even have to do anything with me at all. So anyway, I was doing 3 life improvement courses a week, which I think set
Wow.
a record there from what I was told. And then obviously they wanted me to join staff.
Mhm.
Obviously, these guys came back from Clearwater, Florida, doing this ginormous FEBC training. You know, they've been briefed by David Miscavige, the
Do you
chairman
want
of
to
the
tell
board.
everybody what FEBC is?
Of course. So The FEBC is the Flag Executive Briefing Course. Now, basically, throughout the timeline of Scientology, there's been a lot of golden ages, okay? The golden age of tech, the golden age of admin, 1 and 2. And then when I came in, I was going through the golden age of administration, the golden age of admin. When I was speaking to Chris Shelton about this, he told me that there was a whole thing that David Miscavige was following about sorting out the ethics, then sorting out the tech, and then sorting out the administration. But basically, David Miscavige has changed a lot of things. Okay, to simplify it, he's changed a lot of things. He's changed these massive management volumes. He's changed, everything that these guys used to use in the past. Well, I got given all the new material, all the new packs, where everything chronologically has changed, where things grammatically have changed. So anyway, these guys have to go, and it's you have to do it to go ideal now. To go into these massive, massive buildings, you have to go and do this ginormous Flag Executive Briefing Course training, and you have to do it 3 times through Florida. It involves a lot of things. You have to put everything into clay. There's clay demonstrations. There's method 2, word clearing, where you have to sit on an e-meter and read aloud these pages and check if there's any words that you don't understand.
And it's weeks and weeks that they're down there, right?
Oh,
maybe months even. They're sent away from home to somewhere else, and it's sort of a Ponzi as well, from what I understand. Their organization often has to pay for this.
Yep.
And they have to find a place to live and be, right?
Yep.
All these things. But there's no other option. Your literal other option, from what I understand, is what? Hard labor? Disgrace?
Exactly. Okay, you have to go. You have to
go.
So
all those folks went down to the FEBC. Then they come back, and shocker, you're getting more pressure. They want more from you. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these guys are very, very rough and tough for sure. But they came back. Plus, there's a flag mission, which is even more harsher, trying to get the money up, trying to get the income up. And they wanted me to join staff, and it's kind of like the SEER organization, where there is numerous meetings and interviews. If you go to an event, someone wants to see you. Hey, Amir, let's chat for 5 minutes. If you have lunchtime, someone wants to see you. Hey, let's grab a coffee, let's chat. If you finish studying for 2.5 hours and you come out of the course room, there's a guy in a suit waiting for you. Hey, Amir, let's talk, let's chat. And he takes you into an office, and I later got trained in all these policies by LRH and these books that L. Ron Hubbard recommends, like Big League Sales. But there's so many policies, for example, hard sell, about getting people through their stops and barriers, about, it is actually, I hated it. Okay, they made me I later became a flag-trained registrar, flag-trained salesman, for the executive post that I later went on to hold. And it is painful sitting down with someone trying to get every single bit of money off them, and they're calling up their husbands to try and borrow money or trying to get approval, or they pull out their 4th credit card after the other 3 are maxed out, or you have to sit down with them 3 or 4 times. Malcolm, the executive director in Scotland, would always take people out for coffee and food and try and sway them and whatnot. But anyway, after peer pressure and numerous sit downs, I eventually ended up joining staff. The first post, I was always an executive. So the first post that they gave me was the HES, which stands for the HCO Executive Secretary. That's basically, let's say, just to give you some perspective, let's say that you went into an organization, okay, or let's say you went into Apple or something, and you had never worked at Apple, you didn't really know anything about Apple, you weren't, your family don't really know anything in regards to Apple, but then they are like, we like you, we're going to give you 1/3 of Apple to run. And unfortunately, we're not going to give you your hat pack, your job just yet, because David Miscavige put your program chronologically in the correct sequence. So you have to do these other courses. You're not going to know your job. You don't really know much about it. You weren't really born into it. And staff. You're not going to get any staff. Maybe 2 or 3 staff. But besides that, you have to run 2-3 divisions by yourself. So good luck, buddy.
Good luck.
Yeah. So That was the first ever job I had, Liz. Was the
Oh my
heads.
goodness. No pressure.
Staff pay was on my shoulders. Running,
Yep.
making enough money to
Right.
keep the organization surviving and paying its bills was on my shoulders. Book sales was on my shoulders. All of HCO, ethics, security, communications, a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. Like,
Yeah. That's really, I mean, I was so young too when I took my position at staff. I was
yeah,
19. So, and I didn't have a lot of job experience when I got in, to that position. I thought they were
yeah.
picking me for a high position because I had potential and I was special and, they saw something great in me. Which maybe they did, but
Yeah.
it's just so strange. I would never do that in a business that I had today, or a school, or a nonprofit, or even just a football moms group. I would never throw the new girl into the wolves like that. Did you? How old were you? Is it okay to ask that?
Same as you. Same as you, 19.
Okay, yeah. I mean, and
Yeah.
I think, okay, gosh, that's so interesting. So many things are going through my head right now, but okay. Okay, then what happened?
Yeah, I was the heads for a while. In fact, the majority of the time I was there, I was the heads, which
Okay.
I didn't like the job. That's another
Yeah.
bonus. I didn't like the
It's
job.
very technical, that job, right? It's not the same as being public where there's like a little more energy. From what I recall, it's like really locked down. It's putting the tech in. It's like
Yeah,
it's KSW all day, which KSW is keeping Scientology working, which is a pretty brutal
brutal
multi-step
policy.
program. Yeah, where it basically says Scientology is the only thing acceptable, and you will destroy anything that's not Scientology, and you will make it perfect Scientology 100% of the time, which is a
Yeah.
lot of pressure, especially for somebody. I mean, I felt a lot of pressure when I was in that position, but I had been groomed for that kind of position,
Mhm, mhm.
and you had it. Can I ask, do you remember how that felt in those moments? Were you still
Yeah.
hopeful?
A little bit, yeah, because everyone knew I didn't want to be there, and everyone knew
Okay.
that I wanted to do other stuff. I
Okay.
wanted to do humanitarian stuff, and I wanted to do PR stuff. That was just something because I am very curious and I'm very social, and I never
Yeah.
used to be like that. I used to be very shy, but I'm very social now, and so I like talking to people and getting out there and meeting people. And like the director of special affairs would do that. He would go out and he would meet.
Mhm.
He would be at a ceremony, and the king would be there, the king of the United Kingdom, with
Oh, wow.
his wife. And I'd be like, oh, I want to do that. I want to meet the bishop, and I want to go and meet these guys, and I want to, that was stuff I enjoyed. So I was kind of hopeful, but in terms of the emotions I had, which is a phenomenal question to ask, yeah, I remember loneliness of doing 350 calls a week by yourself in the call-in bit. I remember the loneliness of central files and filing files and folders in the coldest bit of the org in a very claustrophobic cage. I remember the anxiety of meetings, of having 4 or 5 meetings a day and going over financial planning and going over the executive, because as the head, you're on the exec council, you're on the executive
Right.
council, you are holding 1/3 of the organization. You've got, the PES, which was you, the public executive secretary, the organization executive secretary, the OES, and the heads.
Right.
Each of these guys holds, an area of the organization.
So you're having these meetings frequently, and it's like the entire organization is on this small group of people's shoulders. Obviously, that filters down to everybody else, but yeah, I was in those same meetings, and you learn a lot more about the organization than you probably should as a new person. They should not do that for that reason alone.
Totally. So I mean, it's sink or swim. It's sink
Yeah.
or swim.
Yeah.
You're put in the deep end, and you're sitting there with the executive director going over if the org is suffering, what you need, what you don't need, the future of the organization, the next 5-year plan, what David Miscavige is saying, chairman of the board. Sometimes Malcolm, the executive director, would just deal with COB's chairman of the board's communicator Lou. So we would hear all this stuff, and we would hear all these stories, and we would hear the pressure. Those guys are trying to go ideal right now, and I can tell you it is absolutely impossible. Currently, when I left at the end of January this year, not too long ago, I believe that they were at 25 staff members. A lot of them being minors, a lot of them weren't even full time. I mean, you've literally just got the diehards, the guys that were
Mhm.
born into it, their kids, their kids' kids, grandmothers, aunties. It's just the diehards. It's not
Mhm.
new people at all, and that's what's keeping it going. And the only possible way that Scotland could go ideal this year is to import people from across the
Right.
world. That's the only way to do it.
It's a good thing
Only
to be
way to.
watching out for. It's so
Absolutely.
bizarre, isn't it, too? Like this ideal org push. So basically, for anybody who doesn't know, Scientology churches are called orgs, organizations, and they all have different statuses. There's different ones that can deliver different things. They all have different names. Just think very much MLM. You do the bottom, then they push you to the next one. Then eventually you end up in Clearwater, Florida, or on their cruise ship because these are the only places you can get your services. And of course, they get increasingly more expensive. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I find it really interesting about the generational aspect of it. Do they how do I explain this? How do I say this? Do they still actively recruit new people though? Are they still
Yeah.
trying? Okay,
Oh,
but they're gonna have to get all these hardcore people. Okay, one more. My mind is spinning. My mind
it's
is
okay.
spinning. I know. Okay, well, for one, the cost of living has gone up dramatically in the United States. Same,
Yeah.
I would assume maybe all over the world. Can you live on the wages of a staff member
It's
there?
impossible.
It's
No, you couldn't.
impossible. So how? Okay, yeah. So you have to have the support of your family, or
Yeah.
whatever. How were your stats? Not a triggering question. No guilt, no shame. I don't want to. But like, what conditions were you applying usually? Like, what was your Thursday at 2 looking like?
Yeah. I mean, the stats, it just depends on the week. As the heads wasn't great at all. I mean, it was mostly, non-existence or danger. If for people watching that, if they know the conditions and the statistics,
Yeah. So,
that was mostly it.
okay, so you were not raised in Scientology at all.
No, not
So
at all.
conditions are these like formulas that you apply. There's what, maybe 8 or 10 of them. And basically, you only exist within these conditions. There's nothing else in the universe. You're only one of these 10 conditions, or I don't know if there's 10, but and each one has a formula. So you're
Mhm,
saying that you were in non-existence. That means that his stats were neither really going up or down. But the
mhm.
formula for non-existence is what? Like find out what is introduce yourself to the group and find out what is needed and wanted from the
Exactly.
group. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if you could put yourself back in that mindset, but like what is going through some of those conditions like when you have no past experience? Is it weird? Or did it feel like, okay, good, I can get out of this situation? What did it feel?
Yeah.
What was it like?
Hell of a question. When I got moved into Division 6, into the public divisions, and I got put as the PCS, as the public contact secretary, conditions were 10, 11, 20 times easier than when I was the HES.
Okay.
HES is such a tremendous job. With no staff, it's impossible to get things done, especially with 4 or 5 meetings a day and all these
Right.
musters and checking if you're here and staff
Mhm.
meetings and product conference. I'm just listing up meetings that you have, but it's
Yeah.
impossible to get things done. And letters that you need to write, 60 letters that need to go out a week, and it's impossible to get things done. And so you're in limbo, and it's just survival. It's just honestly, the best way I can convey it is it's survival, and it's keeping your head above water to stop you from drowning. And you're going to get nailed. You're going to get told off. You're going to get word clearing. Because that's the solution to everything is word clearing, and how you don't, understand a word on L. Ron Hubbard policy, and that's why you don't apply it. Um, but I'll tell you what, Liz, see, when I became the PCS, going out there, getting statistics, raising all the graphs, um, getting products, selling, meeting people, introducing them to it, running social media, running ads, that was way easier to bump all of my statistics than when I
Mhm.
was the heads. That was
Mhm.
complete hell for the time that I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it does make sense. I've
Yeah.
personalities and your dedication. I feel like somebody who's in the head's position should probably have a lot of experience with Scientology.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to know there. That'd be really hard. So
Yeah.
once you started working in the public sector, you started running the social media for Scotland's TikTok. Is that right?
Yeah, that was fun.
So was
That
that
was
your
fun.
idea, or was that,
Not at
how did
all.
that come about?
Yeah. That was unfortunately a gentleman that I don't very much like. There's a guy, a famous guy in the world of Scientology called Charlie Wackley. Okay, Mr. Wackley. He's currently a staff member in London org in the London organization. Um, he has always been a social media guy. Charlie
Okay.
has his own YouTube channel. He was very big with, Apostate Alex, with the social media, and just getting it out there in general. Charlie's also a Grant Cardone fanboy, and so he gets a lot of ideas from Grant. He's read all of his books and whatnot. So he basically, and the other guys from London, specifically London's Life Improvement Centre, which is located on Tottenham Court Roads, not the ideal organization, not the big building, but those guys started up a pilot project. And it's really funny because when I talk to some people, it's like, with the TikTok stuff, was that like a directive? Did that come from international management? Did they tell you to do it? Not at all. Not at all. There was no program, nothing like that. Charlie started this pilot project with those guys at London. They got views, they got engagement. Keenan blew up. Keenan is the one of the guys that you'll see there. He blew up. People would go visit. Shannon blew up. People would go. Shannon, and I was speaking to somebody about this not too long ago. Shannon is literally a tourist attraction, and people go there just to see Shannon close the door on them. And so you gain that viewership, and people come and see you. And when I was posting, when it came to bookathons, which is big book selling on the street and stuff, people would recognize me and say, "Well, I saw you on social media," and so it builds a level of kind of local fame, or in Shannon's case, certainly global fame. And the most important thing, based on my conversations with these guys, because I also worked with them and I was in the same group chat with them and I would coordinate things with them, was products. Does it get products? Do people come in? Do they buy books? Do people come in? Do they start a course? Do people come in? Do they get a tour? Do people walk in from it? Products was the most important thing, and they would rave about it. And when these London guys would post a TikTok video, or when you see Gunnar from TikTok and from Minnesota post a video, and he would say, "Well, 4 people came in last week from it. I just sold a guy a book from it." They would rave about it in the group chat. Everyone would just go absolutely bananas and be like, "This is what it's about. This is why we're doing it on social media." So it all came from London starting a pilot project, and London, Charlie basically runs the whole entire thing, and he tries to get more organizations into it, and he wants to get more languages into it. And when you look at it on TikTok, you'll see Kaohsiung. Scientology Kaohsiung are now doing it. Scientology Taiwan are doing it. Scientology Paris are doing it. And so there's building more and more languages, and he's trying to activate all these guys. But Liz, did you end up seeing the collaboration video I did with all of them? Oh my God, you have to check it out. It's
I would love
hilarious.
to.
Oh my God, basically I came up with the idea for the last year for the 75th anniversary of Dianetics.
Okay.
Why don't I got 20 different organizations and 13 different countries to throw the Dianetics book around the world to each other. And it's kind of cheesy, but I laugh so much and it's so funny. But
I mean, honestly, it's good content. It's the scariest part, right? It is compelling. I would love to see that. I have I'm blocked from most of them on most of the Scientology accounts on TikTok. But I can skirt around that sometimes. I'll see some stuff. Gunnar honestly is my favorite, you guys. He's literally like a thirst trap for Scientology. He's this
he knows that.
Minnesotan boy. Yeah. It's so, I don't want to pick on the guy. Often I see his posts and I think I could really go off on this, but I don't know. I don't know if you know this, but I have a 19-year-old son right now. And I guess as I have gone through the process of, parenting and all this, and he's 19, I have a lot more compassion. I've gained a lot more compassion, especially for people, like Gunnar or you in that position, or me as a 19-year-old.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard. It's a lot of promises. And I think we
Mhm.
all
Mhm.
would love it if Scientology was true and they were
Mhm.
ethical and it like worked, because a lot of things were plagiarized that do
Mhm.
work.
Mhm.
But that's awful. So
Yeah. Yeah.
how did you end up then doing your interview with Alex? So Alex, everybody probably knows this, but Apostate Alex is an ex-Scientologist now. He also was on staff at 17, 19, got
15
duped
years
into
old, I think he was on staff.
15. Yeah. Okay. Got into a very similar situation where I don't want to tell his story. He has his own
Yeah.
channel, guys. You guys can go there, hear his own story from his own mouth. But
Yeah.
basically, he has a YouTube channel now, and he interviewed you while you
Yeah.
were still a dedicated staff member. So how did that happen? It doesn't seem that far-fetched. Like, if I had been in your position it's funny because it's like, yeah, we're Scientology. Let's talk about it. Let's go do interviews. Let's tell the truth. Let's share. But that doesn't it doesn't usually end up well. So what happened with you?
Liz, that video unlocked Pandora's box for me. I'll tell
Okay.
you that. Oh my. That was a truth revealer. So basically, the story to that is prior to Alex, prior to the IES event last year, the International Association of Scientologists, which takes place at East Grinstead, Sussex, at St. Hill, and their UK headquarters. It's like their biggest event, I think, every single year. I think so in terms of attendance and everything.
Yeah.
But
And it's a
prior to
high
that,
status ticket to go to as a Scientologist.
oof, oh my God, the fundraising I did for the IES,
Yeah.
good Lord. Okay, but yeah, for sure. The truth is, though, I was doing my research
Okay.
because when I was in the public divisions and meeting people and talking to people, there's there's L. Ron Hubbard policy on how you're supposed to disseminate and talk to, introduce people to Scientology and whatnot. And when it comes to the handle part of the policy about handling, things that people are concerned about or whatever, I get into these conversations and I'm obviously very curious as well, so I want to know. And so you start hearing about it going clear. Well, actually, the FBO, the flag banking officer, told me about going clear. But you start hearing about documentaries, and the thing that kept coming up with these guys was social media and TikTok and stuff. So shout out to everyone that posts on TikTok because a lot of the people know about it. But anyway, I was reading books because there's a library right next to the organization, Blackwell's library. So I was reading books and I was reading blogs and I was watching channels, and it's I've been a fan of a lot of people's channel for a while. So I thought, okay, wow, it's obviously very dark and it's very deep stuff. And I actually cried when I was reading Ron Miscavige's book, Ruthless, about how he forgives David, his son, at the very end of the book, despite David, being happy to let his dad die at one point. So obviously it's very deep when you're kind of going down the rabbit hole on that. So I kind of set like a little subconsciously, I think I kind of set a test for myself, which was, and I didn't know this at the time, but I went to the IES event and there was a point where I was late to a meeting or something because I was staying in Crawley in England. So I jumped on a taxi and the taxi went in through not the front gate, but another gate entrance. And Alex was there. Alex was protesting. And I didn't know the other guys, but I knew Alex, obviously. Well, not at the time, but I kind of recognized him. And I asked one of the security guards, who's that? And he said, well, that's Alex Barnes-Ross. You don't want to know who that is. So anyway, later on, I kind of did my research on him. I watched some of his videos. And Alex was very easy to get in touch with. He was very, very, and there was a lot of people I reached out to, kind of behind the scenes, but Alex was very easy to get in touch with. And he's got very quick responses as well. So full credit to him for that. But obviously, Liz, like if I'm an executive still involved in it and I reach out to you saying I want to talk, it's naturally people are going to be quite suspicious. So anyway, I had a phone call with Alex. and we spoke for a while, and then he proposed the idea that we do a video, and I kind of shat myself a little bit, but eventually I kind of agreed to doing it, and then we did the video, and I guess it kind of blew up in a way, and people were kind of telling me that I'm screwed and I'm gonna get COMEV'd, have a committee of evidence, and I'm gonna um get given this ethics
People
program.
were worried for you outside of
Very,
Scientology, like about the
very.
consequences that you had put yourself into danger.
Absolutely, and I had no
Yeah.
idea. I thought, because I want to talk to this guy, and I feel like
Yeah.
I should be able to talk to. I mean,
You
Alex on
can.
paper, I
You can
can,
talk
and
to anybody about your religion. Isn't that also part of the creed of a Scientologist? But whatever. Okay.
exactly.
Keep going.
Well, exactly, right, exactly.
Yeah.
So I did speak to him. Um, it's just so funny thinking about it. Anyway, obviously people were very concerned about me, and I thought, I don't know. I feel like my peers might back me on this. Like I'm a very
Mhm.
high producing staff member. I'm running their social media.
And you
You
didn't
know,
say
uh,
anything negative about Scientology in the interview.
no, and we came to that agreement. I
Yeah.
said, me and Alex were speaking before it, and we were
Okay.
like, let's not talk about David Miscavige and chairman of the board. Let's not talk about anything negative or attack the organization in any kind of way.
Mhm.
Let's go for it. Let's just talk. And so we had a great conversation. We had a really, really good conversation. And, you know, like I said, Liz, it opened up Pandora's box, and I went through 2 weeks of um mental torture and modern slavery and physical manual labor and carrying weights up and down stairs and being interrogated and taken out to the
Carrying
course
weights
room.
up and downstairs
Oh my God.
for a
Yeah, yeah.
purpose, or just like were you taking them to a location, or were you
Well,
just aimless? Like, was the punishment going up and down the stairs?
well, I was reading the telexes, the internal communications
Okay.
between Malcolm, the executive director, and Ulsa. So I saw what was happening and what they were going to do to me and what was being said about me and the I mean, they said some absurd stuff. But anyway, Malcolm
Like
said
what?
that he was, oh, I'm glib. I'm a glib student.
Oh,
And there
you're
was
glib.
I'm glib, and Malcolm gave a Charlie Kirk reference. Because I said, because I was basically saying that, Martin Luther King would speak to everyone, Jesus would speak to everyone, Charlie Kirk spoke to everyone, and not everyone liked them, but they still
Mhm.
spoke to everybody. And
Mhm.
then it was like, well, they were all shot and killed. So why would you? So that was the reference I got from the executive director from Malcolm. So
Yeah.
very, yeah.
Yeah.
I got, oh my God, yeah, yeah, and there was worse than that, but
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Well, I
So
mean, once you put yourself into the eyes of the, like, you become the enemy, or actually you put yourself into the condition of enemy, or treason. It is, from my experience, like, very, it'll just, the affinity, like, it cuts off. Like, you're just, it's cut and dry. And then you kind of realize
yeah,
who your friends really were and how transactional everything was. Okay, so they're
yeah, yeah,
being real creepy and weird, but you're seeing
yeah,
this because
yeah.
you're running the information. So they have their own secure, like, almost their own, like, little fax. I don't know, it's like a fax email situation, but it's
Email.
secure.
Yeah.
Right. It's email. Yeah. Okay. But it's all secure, right? It's its own encrypted network. Is that
Hmm.
correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so most eyes don't see this stuff. That's crazy that you were seeing it about
Hmm.
yourself. So
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
found, you knew you were going to get in trouble before you got in trouble?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, honestly, it was a chess match. It was because there Malcolm's being nice to me, the executive director, the boss, it was
Right.
being nice to me, and I was being nice to him. But when I'm reading this, they're plotting against me, and at the same time, I was like, all right, bet I'm plotting against you, and so it was a complete chess match, and we were nice to each other, but we had masks on. And so I thought, if you're investigating me, well, then I should probably protect myself and do something about it. Otherwise, because I told Mal, you've completely mishandled the situation. All I've done is talk to somebody. On paper, Alex is not a declared suppressive person. He's declared PTS, but potential trouble source. And so, therefore, handle or disconnect doesn't apply because he's not a suppressive person at all. So, I was communicating all of this, but they were not having it at all. And so, eventually, what did it for me I went along with a lot of stuff, but what did it for me was hard manual labor. And so Malcolm sat down with me. Um, he really fucks with you, man. There's so many stuff he does. He really, really messes with you. But he said that we're going to take you off public lines. Okay, you're not going to be able to do your job. You're not going to be able to work with anybody. You're going to be completely isolated by yourself, and you're going to work in the Life Improvement Center. Mess work. Okay, you're going to do some mess work, unpaid for hours and hours and hours. And while you're at it, the stuff from the last bookathon, from the book selling with all the tables and the tents, that's still in the Life Improvement Center, which is currently being renovated, which I had to work in. We need you to take it back upstairs to the organization. So you've got the tent I need to carry upstairs. And plus, I'll tell you what, the weights killed me. I was like, I had spaghetti legs and spaghetti arms at that point. But usually when you go out book selling, you have to plant weights on the legs so that the tent doesn't
Yeah.
sway
So
or
it doesn't
move or
float
whatever,
away.
right?
Yeah.
Right. It's like military. It's like carrying a boat or like sandbags over your head. And so and also Happy, the Harvard Academy of Personal Independence in Scotland, is the first ever AO. It's the first ever advanced organization in the world. In 68, they were doing the OT levels in Scotland. And so
Okay.
that building is ancient. Like they do the ghost tours. And that when you go out to take the trash, when I would go and take out the trash with the flag banking officer, the FBO, you'd go down these spiral stairs that would take you down to the basement, and there would be ghost tours going on there that you would see.
Wow.
And
Wow.
sometimes I would obviously mess with them, and that was a little bit of fun, right? Ooh.
Ooh, Scientology ghosts. Ooh, even creepier.
I didn't think of that actually. But the point being, it's very old, dangerous, rocky stairs, and so
Okay.
you're going up and down, up and down, up and down, spiral stairs, taking up weights,
Right.
and
So giving you a job that is clearly beyond your human capacity.
yeah, I mean,
And
it's slave labor.
it's like a humiliation ritual at that point, giving you a task, a burden that is like almost impossible. Were you able to accomplish it?
I did one day of it, and then I left.
You
I
were like,
left.
fuck
I mean,
you guys, I'm out.
yeah, and I told Alex as well. I called him, and Alex was like, "Just walk out," and I was like,
Right.
"I'm gonna listen to Spotify. I'm gonna finish my day, and I'm gonna, and there's a whole thing to it." But really, I did a day of it, and this is another thing about how Malcolm messes with you is he would say, "Did you tell anyone that you did the video with Alex?" And I was like, "No, I just spoke to him. I've got the freedom of speech. I've got my rights to speak to people, and I'm a big freedom of speech advocate." And he was like, "I admire your pioneering spirit, but that's not the way to do it." And he showed me a policy. He actually showed me like about 10 policies stacking up 6 feet. One of them being Ron Hubbard's PR series and not to forward enemy lines. The policy is called enemy lines, and you should make your bigger and better campaign and not forward enemy lines at all,
Right.
per LRH policy. But he said, "Did you tell anyone that you did this?" And I was like, "No, not at all." And then I found out he goes and tells half of the staff members, and so he had other ways of embarrassing me and whatnot. But after one day of that, Liz, I grabbed a grocery store bag. There's a store in the UK called Sainsbury's. I grabbed the Sainsbury's bag, which is just an orange grocery store bag. And I went up to my office. I put all my certificates, all my commendations, all my awards, all my pins, my jacket, my suit, my belongings. I went out the emergency exit. Because, another way I was able to kind of do all this stuff was I was an executive and I had access and I knew everyone's schedules.
Right.
And I knew where everyone would be. And I kind of had this stuff. And so it was a complete chess match for 2 weeks. It was a complete chess match about them plotting against me and me plotting against them. And so anyway, I went out of the emergency exit, went down the spiral stairs, crossed the roads, jumped on the first bus home, and then did a follow-up interview with Alex where I said what happened to me for 2 weeks for just talking to him on YouTube. Done.
Wild. They're so stupid.
Completely.
I mean, that's the worst way to treat somebody. You come in all starry-eyed, full of hope, and they just squish you. It's bizarre because they're trying to fight depression. Do they not
Do
see
they
how?
not?
Go ahead. We're both like,
No, no, but you're so right. But I was gonna say, Liz, do they not have a reputation of killing off their best people and their best staff?
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Unless
you know,
you end up with I think they almost want to like, I know in Portland that the ED and the DED for
Yeah.
a long time were just these like the same guys for 30 something years. And they had to know about the crimes. They had to be so stressed out every single day, couldn't
Yeah.
afford anything. And I don't know, it's weird that those are the people though that start enforcing it on the next generation that comes in. They can't really want that for you, but I guess it's all about product. So what
Yeah.
did you get security checked?
For the I mean, I've been sex checked before many
But
times, but for
okay.
this, no.
Okay.
No, no. For
Interesting.
this, I went through multiple interrogations. I had a massive ethics program where I basically, when I was reading these communications, they came to the conclusion that the reason I spoke to Alex isn't because of free speech and the right to communicate. The reason I spoke to Alex was because I had a misunderstood words on an L. Ron Hubbard policy. Therefore, I was a glib student and I couldn't apply it, or I chose not to apply it. And that's why I went out of my way to get in touch with him and do an interview with him. Now, tell me you don't
Wow.
have to do mental gymnastics to comprehend that.
Yeah, you really do. That's even a little bit harder to comprehend than you having like a false purpose or having committed overt and done something bad and now you're whatever, this is your justification or something.
Yeah.
Um that is really interesting. I think people don't understand and it's hard to communicate how deep the study tech, how important study
Yeah.
tech is in Scientology, like clearing your words. They'll literally, you could, if you leave the church and you're like, I hate you guys, you're abusive, they'll be like you said, oh, she had misunderstood words.
I was
I
told
had,
that.
right. Well, and I think that they do that with everybody because I know when I left staff, because I was like, I can't do this. I was there
Yeah.
for I didn't fulfill my contract. I was there for 6.5 months. And I was like, this is not for me. I'm
Mhm,
working 10 hours a day,
mhm,
6 days a week. And then on my seventh day, I lived in the basement of a Scientologist and I did work for them for my
mhm.
rent on
Yeah.
the seventh day.
Yeah.
I made what, like maybe $85 a week. I
Mm,
couldn't, I could barely pay the bus for that.
mhm.
And then, we had a young kid come in and they regged him. They like sold him on his whole auditing, like his whole a big, what are they called now?
A package.
Yes, a package. Thank you. A huge package, $30,000 package.
Mhm.
Then the next week, they recruited him for the Sea Org and he went off to the Sea Org. And I was very upset about that. So basically, guys, this
Uh,
means that they got him to pay like a public member, top dollar, top retail. Then the next week they send him into the factory, basically, where they make the stuff, but he still has to pay full price. It's so insane. And I think he was 15, 14. So his parents paid this, right? And I thought that that was so disgusting that I raised an objection. And then they
mhm.
showed me an LRH policy that says that people have to pay for their courses or they won't appreciate them. And you can't go into the C organization expecting a package, like expecting to become, get Scientology practice done to you. How crazy. So that was actually one of
Yeah.
my final straws. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
weird. So
Yeah.
where are you now? Like what's going on with you now? Now that you
Oh, wow.
left, you left. I mean, you're talking to a lot of people. You're pretty public.
Yeah.
What position are you in now?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. Um, enjoying life.
Good.
Also, wow, this feels like a therapy session, but
Oh my gosh, sorry.
um,
Is
no,
that
no,
too?
it's okay. No, I
I'm
don't
a
mind it.
feelings girl. I'm
I
like
love it. I love it. I love it. It's okay. Enjoying life, and also, there's a lot to think about. There's a lot of things to think about. And, I've been traveling a lot. I will continue to travel a lot this year and just meet people and do things. I'm spending a lot more time with family. I am getting into activities. I did boxing for 3 years, when I was in kind of like my high school time, but then I tried Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu recently and grappling, and that was pretty cool. I resume my football where I play a couple times a week with some friends. Um, help is definitely a big thing in speaking to people. I'll tell you what though, right? I'll tell you what. The companionship is in this community is actually phenomenal. Like it blows me away. Like the people that I've been speaking to, um, and been in touch with and had 4-hour conversations with on the phone, and you know, done videos with, and but like see when you're involved in it, like there's a little Scientology booklet called The Cause of Suppression. Apparently that was actually given to Charlie Kirk as well when he got a tour.
Right.
But in that book, it goes over, suppressive people, the
Mhm.
antisocial personality, and it goes over their qualities, right? The qualities of that person. And it also says that they are 20% of the world's population, and the ones that are truly evil and sick are the 2.5% of the 20%. And you've got all these kind of declared people and all these guys that the organization hates, but they're just the loveliest people you'll ever meet. And I think being able to get help from them and talk to them, hang around with them, meet them, um, has been phenomenal. And I mean, even the guys that were like willing to speak to me when I was still involved in, when I was still a staff member and executive there, like I have so much respect for them because they'll just talk to anybody and they'll want to help anybody. And I mean, Alex was literally giving me advice on how to look out for myself and how to protect myself when I was still there and when I was being interrogated and when I was being shown these policies. And after reading and listening to so much about disconnection, I was finally going through it when people were disconnecting from me because I was, I had a message actually. How I was telling you that I was in the massive TikTok group chat where we would coordinate stuff. I got a text message once on WhatsApp from a guy, and Charlie Wackley kicked me out of the group chat after that first original video with Alex. And I said, Charlie, did you mean to kick me out of the group chat? No response. And then I texted Harry, who's head of the Life Improvement Centre in London. And you'll see Harry, he's the guy with the glasses in some of the videos. I was like, Harry, did Charlie mean to kick me out of the group chat? What's going on with that? And Harry was like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah, I'm serious. Kind of expecting what he was going to say. And he was like, you did a fucking interview with a fucking SP and I don't want to talk to you anymore. And so I had people disconnecting from me when I was still on staff there, Um,
That's so
but
hard. And then you still are showing up while this is
still showing
happening.
up. Yeah, for 2 weeks, still showing up, still turning up, over 90 hours a week. No pay, hadn't been paid in
Why?
3 weeks.
Why did you just weren't
That's a good
why?
question. I know. It's a good question.
I mean, not a judgmental question. I put in way more time than you. Like, I get it, but it
I
is
know.
weird to be out of the mindset and
Yeah.
look back and think, I don't know. I try to do that sometime. I'm much further away from it than you. So maybe I'm just projecting,
Yeah.
trying to be, but it is weird to think about when we were of that mindset and then having the cruelness and coldness of that mindset then put back in our faces.
Yeah.
Like by the way that he disconnected. How dare you
And
talk
why
about
is a good question though? Why? Because why is it good? Because I actually asked myself that question, Liz, several times throughout the years.
Oh, we
There
all,
was
we all have.
seriously, see when you go and complain about another staff member who psychologically manipulates you, and then you get told, has he missed an overall? Has he missed a withhold on you? Have you
Because the
committed a
only
crime?
reason you would have a problem with somebody else is if you first had done something wrong to them and they
Yeah.
almost found out about it, which triggered the energy in you that now you have to justify what you did wrong by having negative feelings about that person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a
And
mind fuck. That's just rude. That's rude.
completely. It is
Okay.
rude. I know.
Yeah.
I know completely. It's and per LRH policy, if you don't want to handle an ARC break, it's because you have your own overts and withholds.
Yep.
So someone needs to pull it from you, or you need to write it down on a bit of paper.
Right.
And you need to do it to a pass. You can't just write it down 2 pages and say, Okay, I'm
Right.
done. No. Someone looks it over and they're like, keep going, keep going.
Yep.
It's very psychologically manipulating.
Mhm.
But honestly, I asked myself that question several times. There was so many times where I could have walked out there. Um, but for whatever reason, you keep going and you bite down on the bullet. You know, I'm sure people in base were the same. And you would
Mhm.
have meetings with David Miscavige. Um, David reminds me a lot of Stalin because when you look at the how he took power
Mhm.
and how he took control of things and pushing people aside. And then you look at the labor camps and the whole, and then you look at the paranoia. And by the way, this is all in, Mike Render's book, and this is, Tom DeVock talks about this, and people
Mhm.
that worked with David Miscavige talk about this all the time. But his paranoia, and during these meetings, how he would always need a sealed bottle of water, unopened, and a
Mhm.
new fresh pack of gum and a closed pack of cigarettes so no one could poison it at all. It's very much like a dictator that's kind of running the whole thing and listening to these stories about him. But I'm sure there's people, I don't know, maybe Mormons feel the same in the LDS church. They have their own ethics officer. I mean, the chaplain will ask you if you paid your tithing.
Yeah.
Have you had any sexual relations with your girlfriend at all?
Mhm.
And if so, then you can't take part in their sacrament. You can't take part in the bread and the water, and you can't. So I guess
You can't
multiple
be
people.
saved. You don't get salvation. You hold their
Exactly.
salvation over your head. Yeah. Whether it's Mormon or,
Yeah.
I mean, I think
Yeah.
there's a lot of levels to Mormonism that I don't
Yeah.
fully understand. I think there's some sects that are like way more fundamental, but even
Yeah.
the base ones, like you still have coercion, you still have expectations.
Yeah.
Um, so random here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kind of answer my own question, which is like the rudest thing
Yeah.
that like a quote interviewer can do.
Go for it, Liz. Go
But
for it.
I'm curious what you think about this.
Yeah.
So, um, in my deprogramming and my processing, the way that I am, I
Yeah.
have come to do a lot of research, and then I'm now making this art project to kind of express outward a lot of what I've taken in, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
And the path I'm sort of realizing is that the roots of Scientology, like not David Miscavige's Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard's Scientology, the roots of
Right.
it do seem very heavily based in, for lack of a better word, like
Hmm.
witchcraft spells. Like
Right.
it's a
Right.
combination of repetition and hypnotism and suggestion combined with these physical rituals. I mean, every time you go into session, you're like,
Yeah.
this is the session. There's these starts
Yeah.
and these stops. And I don't know how if you feel this way, but like I kind of woke up after a while and I was like, holy shit,
Yeah.
I have been under a literal spell. Where and
Yeah.
then I look back and I go, why? Why didn't I leave? Or why did I not, And it's like, I can't really explain it other than to
Yeah.
say that I was like enchanted
Yeah.
in some
Yeah.
strange way. Um,
Yeah.
And now that I've done a lot of research, I understand that like, oh, that was on purpose. That wasn't just me being some aloof spirit who was like reacting in a bizarre way. It was actually very campaigned. And that paranoia, I feel like it also started with L. Ron Hubbard and it's like baked into the system of Scientology. There's all these questions. Are you a journalist? Are you a CIA agent? Do you work for the government? Does anybody in your family work for the government? Have you ever had a bad thought about L. Ron Hubbard? Have you ever had a bad thought about David Miscavige? That's that is dictator stuff because the assumption is that if you have, there's a negative consequence. And
Hmm.
so, yeah, I find it really interesting because I was born into it and my
Hmm.
family has been in it so long that I kind of thought that there was a lot of power there. But in your time coming into it with nothing like grooming you to be there,
Hmm.
you still feel like at 19, we were probably the same, going through the
Yeah.
same thing, like trying to
Most
figure it out.
likely.
Yeah. And I just find that really interesting because in my mind, I mean, I guess I kind of get in my feels a little bit about like being
Hmm.
born in, and my mom was raised in Scientology since she was a baby. And that's
Yeah.
kind of like a bit of my shtick about maternal
Yeah.
relationships in Scientology and children and all this stuff. And I have to admit that I have underestimated, talking to you today, I realize I've underestimated that hypnotic, witchcrafty spell, whatever you
Mhm.
want to call it,
Yeah.
power for someone who wasn't groomed for it.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm sorry all that happened to you, man. I really am sorry
Appreciate
that
that, Liz.
this has happened to you.
No,
That
I
I mean,
some
what do you
experience.
go ahead. What?
It was some experience, Liz.
Yeah. What do you think your like when you're older,
Yeah,
and you're like say 30 years, 20 years from now,
yeah,
and you've gone on, I would assume to do amazing things with your life and you've got this great family and you're doing all the, whatever, you're exactly where you want to be. And you
yeah.
look back at this experience. What do you think you'll see? What do you think it will mean to you?
I'm going to give you a 10 out of 10 with the questions, I have to say. I don't
Zero
know.
preparation. I'm just trying to connect with another human being over here.
I love it. I
But
love
thank
it.
you.
You don't need preparation. Um, funnily enough, L. Ron Hubbard says in the PR series that if you want to execute a good event or something, it has to be based on good preparation.
I know, that's why
Um,
I refuse. No, I'm just kidding.
sorry, yeah. What was the question again, Liz?
Just when you're older, like, what do you
Oh,
think you'll look back? What do you think you'll tell your grandkids about this time?
wow. Wow, wow, wow. That is a hell of a question that I've very briefly thought about. Um, I don't know. There's so many possibilities. Maybe I'll sit down one day. Um,
Maybe you won't know until then.
maybe I won't know until then. Maybe these videos, through them being immortalized on YouTube, will maybe they'll find it. Maybe I'll speak to them about it. Maybe I'll sit down with them in a park and talk to them and brief them on it. Maybe I don't know. I mean, I've still got some of my stuff, kind of archived in my closet for some weird, strange memory, so I can look back and say, well,
Mhm.
that was all like one big bad dream, you know?
Right. But the dusty books are there, so you know what happened.
I know, I know. Fuck, man. I mean, I spoke to a guy recently and he said this will always stay with you, despite like therapy will help and stuff will help, but this will stay with you for the rest of your life. I was like, "Ugh, maybe it will. I don't know. Um, I'm not sure, Liz, but it is an
Uh,
absolute hell of a question.
Well, I'll be expecting an email in 20 to 30 years with an answer. Um, I would like to project a positive outcome. Okay, I'm totally projecting here. I will say
Yeah,
for me, coming out of Scientology, I see
yeah,
coercion everywhere in the world. Like
yeah,
America is a cult. Like, we
yeah,
are propaganda, propaganda, propaganda. I don't know how it is over there, but I would assume all, you know, civilizations today, if you have the internet and you have commerce, like you're going to have propaganda.
yeah,
Um, has your experience now changed at all your worldview? Like, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but do you
yeah.
experience now that you see cults more? Or like, what is your even definition of a cult now? How do you see cults in the world? Does that make sense? See, I'm not
Yeah,
prepared. It's
yeah,
not a good
yeah.
question.
I I
But like,
I
what
think
do
it's
you
a
think
hell of a
about cults?
question.
I guess I should say.
I think it's a hell of a question. I owe a lot of what I know about cults to Steve Hassan and his
Mm,
book, based on just breaking it down and getting you thinking and getting you asking. See, when we're like right now, as we're just speaking about the LDS Church and we're speaking about the chaplain. There's a chaplain in Scientology as well, right? But when we're speaking about Scientology and we're speaking about, there's a lot of stuff going on with the Trump administration right now. There's so much stuff going on. There's stuff going on in North Korea. There's so much stuff going on in the world today. And I guess Steve helped me just break it down in a way. And the commonality when you look at these things, because it can be a complicated subject, and people can get lost in it, and people cannot recognize it at times. The commonality is control, I think. Control over your schedule, control over your name, control over your uniform, control over your life, control over who you can talk to, who you can't talk to, control about, there's restriction. There's, there's so much in some sort of a way. And, Steve's bite model, right? Controlling your behavior, controlling your thoughts, controlling your emotions. The whole commonality is control. And as you kind of see things today in the world take place, or you analyze your workplace or relationships, or, like whatever it is, right? Groups, whatever it is, if you just kind of sit with, can I speak to whoever I want to speak to? Can I think freely? Can I be myself? Do I have, there was an L. Ron Hubbard quote somewhere about, funnily enough, just thinking about L. Ron Hubbard quotes right now. Liz, isn't it funny how in Scientology culture, every win you have and everything you accomplish you owe to LRH, but everything that you fuck up in and mess up in, you don't owe to LRH, and it's because you messed up.
Right.
Funny thing there. Sorry, I just thought about it.
No, I mean that's the name of the game, right? The house always wins. You're in a tipped
House
environment.
always wins.
The house always wins in Scientology. I mean, if you play their game, if you sit down at their table and play their game. That reminds me, we were laughing a little bit earlier about integrity.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
And I think we both are thinking the same thing. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but it is interesting. So I also went to Scientology boarding school, and integrity is like on their crest. It's a very big thing in policy, in practice, in culture, right?
Yeah.
And I find it really ironic. I know they create their own monsters, but in this specifically, I think they do, because it's really drilled into you that you need to be ethical, you need to be responsible, and not just responsible for yourself. Like if it's the chessboard, you're not responsible for being white or black. You are responsible for the entire game, which is obviously a lot of pressure. But then at the same time, it's like, but integrity is the most important thing. It's like, well, my integrity tells me that you're an abusive organization and that I should speak out about it. And they're like, no. Not that kind of integrity. We only want the kind of integrity where you'll stand for Scientology against the world. And I think somebody over at Scientology needs to word clear integrity.
I think so.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
I think that's the thing.
I mean, it's a high crime to criticize them or report them to law enforcement, right?
Right. Yeah. And not just that, it's a high crime to publicly depart Scientology as well, which is like, I don't know. They just always want you to shut up. But I have a hope for you that, okay, this is so Pollyanna. I mean, whatever, take it or leave it. We all write our own stories, right? We can say whatever the hell we want. But sometimes when there's a tractor in front of me or something on the road and I'm running late and it's slowing down traffic and I'm, whatever, something happens that shifts my day. I think to myself, well, maybe I just got saved from something else. Or maybe I'm, I got to think I'm in the right time at the right place. And who knows, maybe that happened for a reason. And while, a 3-year detour involving spiritual, religious, and physical abuse is hardly being behind a tractor on a road, I can only hope for you that, you have this wonderful long life ahead of you with hopefully no more Scientology in it, that maybe something from this experience will provide something for your life, something character or open some doors for you, or I don't know, something. And maybe you will be in a position one day where you'll be like, oh, I saw those red flags once and I learned that lesson. I hope that for you. If I find out you join another cult after this, I'm coming out there.
You're not going to find me as a missionary doing my 2-year term. Don't worry.
Okay, fair. Fair. Do you have family?
I agree, though.
Do you have a big family?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Yeah, you have
I have family
siblings
from all around the world.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I have a few siblings. I have 2.
Nobody else is in Scientology, right?
Nobody else.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Nobody even knows about it. They don't know
Okay.
anything about it at all. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, good. Huh. Interesting. Well, it sounds like, have they come after you? Are you being fair gamed?
Um, I would say it's nothing to be concerned about right now, but I mean, I've had some great conversations to be prepared for anything. Um, there's definitely stuff that may be happening on social media right now, that I may have screenshots of, that I may have pictures of that I've sent to people.
So like
I
slandering you, trying to create an online negative
yeah,
space associated with you.
yeah, and I know
Okay.
who's watching me. And
Okay.
also, this is so funny, but I've got multiple insiders as well at St. Hill, and
Okay.
um, so I also like keep my ear to the ground and I know what's going on.
Yeah.
So I'm staying very prepared. I feel like with what I'm about to do, this year, it might be worse, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm prepared for it.
Okay. Fair. I mean,
Yeah,
fair enough. Uh,
yeah.
I'm no expert necessarily on what to do with fair game, or I just realized that like 2 years ago, something I went through is probably fair game. So it's a wild world. Um,
What did you go through, Liz? What happened?
it's so messed up, dude. I don't even know. I'll tell you
Seriously?
off. Yeah, I mean
Okay,
I'll tell you off camera. How about that?
awesome.
Sorry,
Okay.
everybody. I don't mean to make a mystery sandwich.
Oh my
I'm
God.
honestly scared. I'm scared to talk about it publicly at this point. So I'm not
Yeah,
going to, but
yeah.
I'm happy to talk to you about it. Anyway,
Mystery sandwich. What a policy, by the way.
mystery sandwich. That's such a Scientology term. I actually really try hard not to speak in Scientologies. I've cut, because if you
I'm still
talk like
working on
it
it.
and you
I'm
think
still
like it,
working.
I would highly recommend
Yeah,
if you can, I almost feel like cults use linguistics as part of that spell,
absolutely. Yeah.
rewording everything, and then the intensity of word clearing. And, I mean, I did the Key to Life course where for weeks I studied the definitions of the word of and
The
in,
most
and I
simple
did,
words. Yeah.
and I made every definition out of clay, like really,
Oh
really crazy
God.
stuff. Um, and I'm a great writer and stuff, and I can read
Yeah.
well, but there's some kind of programming that happens there. And I don't know exactly the mechanics of it, but it's like rewriting your brain. And so I
Mm.
would encourage you, if
Yeah.
you can, um, to like rephrase it in other words, because maybe
I know.
synapse.
I'm working on it.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
you're right.
whatever. It's hard. It's a challenge because they really
I
get
mean,
you.
there's literally a definition of in and out by LRH. In tech, out tech.
Yep.
In and out has their own definition. They're like the most simple words. So
Right.
yeah, I mean, that is like beaten into you from day one.
From
So
day one. Yeah. It's a
it's
crime
yeah,
if you go by a word you don't understand. There's a
yeah.
few comments here. Everybody has really nice things to say to you. I'm gonna
Oh,
pull it up.
awesome.
First one question. These are also from the beginning of our talk too, so they'll be random.
Awesome.
Question, Amir, I know. Oh, we just asked this. Can't go into details, but if you've been fair gamed yet, I feel like you just answered that.
Yeah, 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 for
Awesome.
sure.
You must have been paid a lot of money at the executive level. How much did you make per week?
How was
Do you
it paid
remember?
for? Oh, like most of the time, nothing because the
Yeah.
organization makes enough money. First of all, they send money to three places, I think. Okay, they send money to Flag, they send money to America, they send money to promotion, to Division 6 promotion, buying flyers, social
Mhm.
media advertisements, and they send money to paying the bills. They don't pay their staff. And especially with the new finance series and with the way that David Miscavige has changed things, before the old way of doing it was you would pay your staff first.
Right.
But then all of the time they would be able to pay their bills. So now
Right.
they've changed it so they cover all the bills, promotion, flag money, but they
Mhm.
don't pay the staff. So
Don't you think that's crazy when they have so much money? Like
I mean it's just
Scientology,
illegal. It's
yeah,
illegal.
very, very illegal. On its face, though, too, I'm just like, what is the justification for that to the average? I mean, do you have any insight into that? Like the average Scientologist who's coming, they know you're not making any money. Like they
Yeah.
see you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
how do they justify that? I guess.
They drill 8C, they drill body control, and so they say sign
Yeah.
here, sign here, sign here. They very, very lightly brief you and say, well, obviously, when you sign this contract and you join staff, I mean, the money is not the reason you join, and
Right.
you'll get paid like depending on how the organization does and whatnot. So anyway, just sign here, sign here. Okay, good. Yay, let's get you on. Shit like that. You like
Yeah.
they nice
Just,
talk you through it. They say sign
yep.
here, sign here. They drill it. They actually drill it because I
Yeah.
was part of the drillings,
Right.
you know. But they don't tell you. I mean, they don't tell you about reports when you join staff. They don't tell you about you can't have a holiday. You have to write a CSW, complete
Right.
staff work, and when that gets approved, then maybe you can go. They don't
Right.
tell you that stuff. They just say sign here, sign here, sign here,
Right.
and you got two guys there, or you might have Sea Org members there for an event trying
Mhm.
to get you to sign up, but they don't brief you on anything, not at
Mhm.
all.
Not at all. Do you know how I got out of going in the Sea Org?
Tell
Have you
me.
heard this story? So I was 14 and I was at CC Int and I
Right.
was going to school from 9 to 12 and then I would go down and do course from 1 to 6 and on that break, that 3:30 break, they're always waiting for me, taking me down to the basement, trying to
Yeah.
get me to sign my contract, my Sea Org contract, like,
Yeah.
you're such a piece of crap because you don't want to join the Sea Org, you only have this one lifetime. Um, you're not going to let Earth die. Like you're not going to let humanity perish, are you? You
Yeah.
asshole. Sign this contract. So I got so sick of it because that's your 15. That was my only 15-minute break. I mean,
Hmm.
And so I
Hmm.
finally signed it, crying, crying, crying. But my mom told me I couldn't go into the Sea Org till I was 16. And I remembered that my dad couldn't go into the Sea Org because he did acid, LSD, when he was in
Right.
college. So at 15 years old, I
Yeah.
sourced LSD from a random strip mall in Palo Alto, California, fried my face off, listened to Pink Floyd's The Wall over and over again. I did it actually several times after that because I was very intrigued at that time. I mean, I do not recommend this, by the way. If anybody's watching and you have a young
Of
developing
course.
brain, please don't do this. I felt like I was in a very tight spot and this was my creative solution. Yeah, and so I couldn't go in. And now I like literally sought
Wow.
hard, dangerous drugs to get out of going in the Sea Org. And it worked. And then like
Fuck,
maybe a
man.
year ago, somebody told me that they had gotten advice that you can just tell people that you took LSD. You
Oh
didn't actually have to do the
shit.
LSD. And I was like, damn it. I go hard, I guess. I guess I go hard. um That said,
Fuck.
it probably was a huge part of my coming to age as realizing that Scientology was not the answer. I mean, I already knew clearly because I was engaging in that, but after listening
Yeah.
to
Yeah. Yeah.
Pink Floyd's The Wall for whatever 8 hours straight, I was like, we're all just a brick in the wall, man. um anyway, that's how I got out of the Sea Org, which
Well,
is again
right.
not
The
recommended.
LSD instantly disqualifies you from it. You're not Sea Org qualled.
Exactly. You're not.
Yeah.
And then it's like, sorry, but you are staff qualled. So they were
Hmm.
like, oh, but you can come be on staff. Um, but it was hard. Like
Yeah.
especially I was signing away everything in that moment. I was signing a
Hmm.
billion-year contract. And at that time I signed it, I didn't want to go in, but I didn't know how I was going to get out of it. And at that point, I was signing I would never be a mom signing that.
They don't brief
I
you on that, do they?
They don't. I would never be I don't know. I would never have a 401k that I could even retire one day after working my ass off at 6. I couldn't. There's just so many things that you give up. And I don't trust anybody who would want to
Hmm.
take advantage of anybody like that. It's power control. And I don't know. I guess I'm just becoming a total like
Yeah.
anti-establishment hippie in the
Mm.
woods. Just, yeah, I don't know. But
I mean, these guys are so snaky and slurpy, and they will. I signed for the C organization, and I was on what's called a project prepare.
mm,
The way that I was going, I wouldn't have joined for probably more than 5 years or something because you can't just leave. You need to get a replacement. And if I got sent for my FEBC training, my flying executive briefing course training, I would have had to get an FEBC replacement to replace me so I could go in.
Right.
So, but I did sign. But these guys don't brief you on that. They'll just say, listen, they'll give you some elevator quotes. They'll bring you down to the basement. They'll bring you down to one of the offices. You might see the sword and the hat there. You'll see the famous contract. Or nowadays, Liz, to help recruiters, they'll send you the contract on WhatsApp and you'll sign it through the edit it button on WhatsApp and send it through to them, and you've signed.
I mean,
for it.
it's fucking meaningless anyway.
It's not like a legally contract.
Meaningless.
Yeah.
Though I do think that there is something very powerful about a spiritual contract. I do think there is something about that. Like when a human or one of us, whatever you want to call us, signs something like that, I do think there's some sort of energy. Like, I don't know, it ties people in because they're making a promise. It's like almost making a pledge to God if you're a Christian, you know? It like typically if your heart's in it, it means something. If you're just signing it, you know, to get them off your back so you can go fry your face off like me. It's different. Yeah. So crazy. Okay. What was see, I think we talked to pretty much every question people have. I think we probably talked about. So what was the mindset you would say with a job you didn't like? What kept you working there? Couldn't just get another job in the real world? I would suspect, I do not want to project on you, but I would suspect jobs after this are going to take a little getting used to. Like regular jobs.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
You'll be an entrepreneur now. Never work for another person again. What would happen if you didn't get your work done? Oh, I feel like we've passed so many of these negative topics. I'm scared to go back.
Shout out to peace of mind with the questions, though.
Oh my gosh, they are huge.
Yeah. What would happen if you didn't get work done? You could get word clearing. I mean, the main thing that they actually give a rat's ass about is statistics. Like you could show up late, but if your stats are good, if your statistics are good, if the graph is good, then per policy,
you can get away with murder.
You get with murder, right? As Ella Wright says. So statistics were everything. As long as you had, I remember when it was my birthday, Malcolm, the executive director, put on my cards, "Happy birthday, Amir, get your stats up." That is the only thing they care about. So if your stats are down, they'll come down on you. You've got lower conditions, you've got words clearing, you'll be put on the meter, or per policy, you might have to do an OW write-up, or you might get a sec check because you have your own overts, you have your own harmful acts, your own sins that you've committed. So several things. There's a lot of policy on it, for sure.
There is, yeah. And peace of my mind, if your stats are up, which nobody actually really does this, but you could, I guess, you can just walk around and be like, ethics protection, bitches, ethics protection.
And you don't die during staff meeting as well.
Yeah. But then it's all reset because you could be the hero of the week, but Thursday at 2, when that graph ends and a new graph starts. Yeah. It's almost terrifying to do a good week. Technically, I mean, honestly, sometimes when I would sell a lot of books in a week, I would get stressed out because I would know that the next week I probably, if there was like an event or something outside and I was actually able to do it, but then the next week I knew I wouldn't, I would get so stressed out. You wouldn't be able to
top that. Yeah.
Awful. There's a few here because people, when we were talking about your first interview and how people were chiming in saying they were worried for you, Donna says that they all knew what was going to happen.
Shout out to Donna.
And a lot of people were scared for you and they were really concerned. But now, so happy you're living and enjoying life. I love it. Again, I feel like people are just rooting for you in the chat so much. I love this. Such awful people, Amir. Thank goodness you're out and living life again. Peace of my mind asks, are most ex-Scientologists receiving therapy now? I mean, I am not qualified to speak on most ex-Scientologists and in their personal mental health decisions. Literally no idea. Do we all need therapy? Probably. I mean, who doesn't?
Could be. It could be. Yeah. I did for sure, 1000%, because I had guilt and I had to get things off my chest, and I had, like those stories that I had, and it was like, why didn't I walk out at that time? I did 1000%. I wouldn't be surprised if other people did. I mean, it definitely helped me though, that's for sure. Liz, did you ever have any like when you ended up leaving?
Therapy?
Yeah.
Oh shit, I've had so much therapy. I kind of comes and goes. I mean, I started going to therapy when I was under the radar.
Yeah.
Because I had started getting panic attacks for the first time. I knew I was going to lose my family. I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that
Yeah.
I was going to lose my family. And I don't mean my husband and children. I mean my mom, my stepfather, who was essentially my dad since I was 14.
Yeah.
My cousins, their kids, like my mom's whole side of the family. And so I knew it was going to happen because I knew I could not keep living a lie. And my kid, were getting older and they were about to be recruited in. And I was just like, I can't handle it. And I started having panic attacks. So I did start going then. And I got some really good advice. But then, you know what? After that, I ended up doing therapy with a guy who was a Baptist. I don't know what they're called, pastor, preacher, whatever.
Yeah.
And he also was a licensed therapist, and he had a master's degree in religious studies,
Oh wow.
and that helped me a lot. I've also
Wow.
done I've done a lot of cognitive behavioral therapy, and then I've done some sensory motor. I'm
Mhm.
kind of in a different position because I was a little kid in Scientology.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been around very many parents. I mean, we're a lot of kids in the org.
Loads. Oh yeah,
Loads.
loads.
Okay. What perceptions of, I mean, what when you saw Scientology parenting, how did it differ from, like, did anything stand out to you, or did they seem like great parents? I mean, I want you to be totally honest. I'm not trying to paint
Yeah.
anybody in a negative light, but like
Yeah. Yeah.
what vibe did you get from the parenting in general?
Seriously, Liz, I'm gonna give you a 10 out of 10 on the questions.
You say that to everybody, Amir. No, I don't know.
No, but because I've never been asked this, and it's just it actually gets me thinking for a few seconds. Like I don't know the answer.
That's
I
okay
so
too.
when I was there, one commonality was they don't school their kids.
Okay.
And you can go and see Grant Cardone talk. I met the Cardones literally just last year at the IS event where I spoke with Scarlett and I spoke with them, Elena and stuff. They don't school their kids. It just seems to be a commonality. They don't like school. They don't
Mhm.
like their kids being around those kind of kids, I guess, in high
Mhm.
school. They much rather their kids learn how to study in the organization. L. Ron Hubbard has Learning How to Learn. L. Ron Hubbard has another course, Study Skills for Life. L. Ron Hubbard has another course, Grammar and Communication. L. Ron Hubbard has the Basic Study Manual. They're more than happy to let their kids do a kids communications course and all these kind of stuff, and grow up in the organization around in ethics,
Mhm.
students and other kids, and mature that way. That was
Mhm.
a commonality that I found.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't know. I find them to be quite mature because they're treated as adults in a kid's body. Like
Mhm.
they're thetans. They're
Yeah.
immortal spiritual.
They
According
just
to
happen to have a little body right now.
they just happen to it's
Don't make
part
them
of
feel
this
bad about it. Jeez.
exactly right.
Yeah.
It's he's played every game
Right.
for millions of years, probably billions of years.
Mhm.
Um, so we want him to join staff at 14 years old, and it's okay if he smokes, and it's totally fine. So they mature a lot quickly because they're treated as adults when they're 9 years old. I mean, how many fully trained supervisors there were from Flag that were 16 years old that got sent when they were 14, 15 years old. The SUP course, the supervisor course, along with the word clearer course, is one of the biggest courses you could possibly do in all of Scientology. It takes I'm talking about one course because the FEBC you have to do all these series and all these different volumes, but like one single course, I would never do it. I wouldn't do the word clearer supervisor course. Never. Never.
Yeah, that's a lot. Is there a Scientology school out there in Scotland for
Not in
kids?
Scot. Well, actually, there might be. There
There
might
might
be.
be. Yeah, it's probably
Yeah,
pretty small. Okay.
but
That's
it's
so
homeschooling
interesting.
and it's done on the computer instead of like a physical building.
Okay.
Instead of a cadet org, it's like there is a Scientology school and you would
Mm,
enroll your kids and you would pay, but it's done on the computer.
okay, like an online course.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. That's interesting. Huh. Well, that's a huge thing for me. If I could let the world
Yeah.
know one thing, it's Scientology practices is not appropriate for children. It's just if you want to be, even 19, I still technically in my mind I'm like, no, they're your prey. And those 16-year-olds that you're talking about, it's like
Yeah.
they go down there to flag and it's your whole life. Like you are indoctrinated. I hate to use the word brainwashed because it's such a kind of over word, like a dumb word in some ways, but you are like flattened into nothing and then created as your post is your identity.
Yeah.
Like the identity is not, oh, you're, you and you're going to have a family and this and that. It's like you are you are the PES, you are your job, you are your product, your statistic. I feel bad for kids that have that.
I agree. Can I give you a hot take?
Of course.
I think it's quite extremist. I think it's quite because when you look at the goal, I really want to do a video where I just react to these TikToks about what Gunnar and Andy from San Francisco say and whatnot. Scientology, all are welcome. All religions, faiths, and backgrounds are welcome. But and I love Tom as an actor. And I'm slightly biased towards him. But Tom, there's a video where he says you can be a Christian Scientologist, you can be a Jewish Scientologist, you can be whatever, right? But then how can Scientology be a religion if you can be a Jewish Scientologist or a Catholic Scientologist? How can you have two religions at once? And so it can't be, right? So there must be, and then you look at what's their goal is to clear the planet, right? It's to clear the planet. We need to clear the planet. And then we can move off to target 2 once we clear the planet. But then you need to get everyone on the bridge. And then you need to get everyone through their Purif and SRD and through all these different courses and through their drug rundown and through ARC straight wire and through the grades. And then we need to get rid of the reactive. So everyone needs to be a Scientologist to clear the planet, right?
Yeah.
But then how can you clear the planet when you're only there to make the able more able and you don't focus on people with autism or just, so you can't, it's impossible to clear the planet while those guys are still there. But to clear the planet, you need to make everyone a Scientologist. You have to. Otherwise, you'll never do it. So that's a goal. That's an open goal.
Right.
And then you've got things like fair game, and guys are allowed to be tricked and sued and killed, and that's extremism because you have to force your faith or religion on every single man, woman, and child on the planet to move into the next planet. You have to. Because you've made your mission clear,
right?
So
which justifies a lot of behavior at that point.
Exactly.
Because if you're just talking about one guy, but I got to clear this whole planet, it's that one person doesn't become as important as an individual or to care about or anything. It's funny you say clearing the planet, because that was one of my first like objections that I actually talked to the church, to Scientology, and I got a whole program and I got handled on it. But if the goal is to clear the planet, then why does Scientology cost so much money? Why is Scientology not accessible? Why are you not giving it out for free to every single person on the planet? It's like, oh, no, because of what you said. Oh, we need to make the able more able. They need to reach for it. They need to pay for it to appreciate all these different things. But that's a huge cognitive dissonance. Again, I talked to Joy Vila. I love her quite a bit. I think her message is so powerful because she got to that point where she had to choose. You either have L. Ron Hubbard as your source or God. They don't, like, one has to top the other, and nobody will let anybody top LRH. He tops God.
I mean, a source.
He is source.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
they
is
salute
very
and clap
extreme.
to him every single day. Right?
Yeah. Hip, hip, hooray. Hip, hip,
to
hooray.
LRH. Yeah.
Yeah. Which
Every
again
day.
is, I mean, it's very ritualistic. That's extremely ritualistic.
Right.
Anyway, thank you for being a member, Anne. Let's see. All these people are just so happy for you. Keep showing up in here. It does get better. Oh my gosh. Since I started reading those, there's also a ton of comments here. Let me go back really quick. Everyone, yes. I didn't know you had a channel. Otherwise, and I will make sure we shout it out.
I haven't posted anything on it. I've just kind of got it there.
I'm over here on YouTube, but I'm a lot more active over there on the TikToky.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see. I think I've got one more. Try your best, Osa. Amir is ready for it. Make yourself look worse than you are already.
Shout out to
Oh,
Jojo.
yeah. Thanks, Jojo. I mean, I laugh and whatever, but I'm really proud of you. I think that your journey is really important. And I mean, not to get like mushy about it, but you could still be there. And that could be there are people who didn't get out, who are
Yeah.
still there and maybe would have fallen for it. And instead of rising up with self-worth in those moments where you're like, I don't actually deserve to be treated like this, there are a lot of people who crumble in the opposite direction. And they're like, oh, I guess I'm worthless and I'll be here forever. And they take that fight and that spirit and that goodness and that curiosity away from people. And you clearly have all those things left. So I'm excited for you. Do you want to tell anybody what you're doing next, or is it kind of under wraps?
Oh, wow. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff for sure. I'll keep it under wraps right now, but hopefully not for too long. I have so many things to speak about. I have so many things to share to you guys. I have so many things that I've gathered from the 2 weeks that I was interrogated for. I'm sitting on, and as many people are sitting on, an unbelievable amount of stuff that I can't wait to share at some point. And there's so many things behind the scenes that are going on that I cannot wait to share with everybody. And do you know what? My biggest pride is to be able to help people and encourage people to speak out. Zoe spoke out not too long ago with Alex for the very first time. Massive shout out to Zoe. Zoe came out, she's got an incredible story, and we didn't know until very recently, but the Jive Aces, who are claimed to be the number one jives and swing band in all of the UK, who are also Britain's Got Talent semi-finalists, by the way. Britain's Got Talent semi-finalists were involved in relationships with minors. So those guys who are coming over to the States soon, apparently for a tour, are under investigation. But
That's crazy.
big,
I
it's
will be looking
massive.
into that as soon as we're off of this live. Wow.
Yeah, massive, massive. So
Because everybody in Scientology knows who the Jive Aces are, and they're probably have so far been some of the least problematic parts of Scientology. Like,
well, you think that, right?
you think
You,
that,
yeah.
but obviously not. There's no non-problematic. That's very interesting. Zoe, what's her last name? Did she say?
I can't remember, but Zoe, she spoke out with Alex very recently on his channel.
Okay.
I had the pleasure of actually meeting her and having some food with her, and she's very lovely.
Okay.
But
I'll check it
she,
out.
she broke news there, and that is some big news. Britain's
That's
Got
big
Talent
news.
semi-finalists,
Yeah.
who everyone knows.
Yeah.
I mean, do you know that David Miscavige actually set up a course for the Jive Aces, a music course for them? It's really interesting. So there's the Scientology YouTube channel, and there's obviously, they have Scientology Network and they have their apps, but they have a David Miscavige website, and basically everyone raves about David Miscavige.
David
Tom
Miscavige was
Cummings.
so nice to me. He remembered my first name after
Yeah,
2 years. He's a hero.
he looked at me in the hallway, and I just collapsed and fell.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
He asked which floor I was going to and pressed the button. Stuff
Right.
like that.
He's a
So,
hero.
yeah. Oh my god. Oh my god.
I've
He's
lost
the
them, but
best.
I had these pictures of my mom flirting with David Miscavige on the free wins, and my mom's taller than him, and my mom has a very specific thing that she would do when she was flirting, and it was 3 shots, little action shots, and David Miscavige is wearing the sailor outfit with the white short sleeve, the white shorts, and the pull up white socks with loafers, and my mom's towering over him, just laughing.
Oh wow.
Anyway, I don't know. Sorry, you brought up a memory there. I just hogged.
No, it's okay. Wow, that's fascinating. But you'll find a
wild.
lot of stuff there. I mean, it's like, just people literally David Miscavige has his own website where people just rave about him all the time. But Ian, who is the lead singer for the Jive Aces, has a video. It's a short little clip where he talks about his encounter, and Dave bought him a ukulele, and Dave also created a whole music course that he
Right.
compiled together for the drives to do. Point being, it's just a very big deal, and the fact that
Yeah.
Zoe was inspired to speak out, and speaking out for the very first time, and broke news about the Jive Aces. Who else is involved in underage relationships with children? I mean, Chris Malin was an auditor for Birmingham Org, um, who was at St. Hill lots of times, and he'll tell you stories about massive donors that would do things with children and they would get away with it completely because they would just go and they would donate and everyone would be very happy.
Yep.
So when you encourage people like that to come and speak out
Mhm.
for the first time, when people reach out to you and you're
Mhm.
able to provide updates to families and you're able to
Mhm.
tell people about their brothers and sisters and send pictures of their mothers, that's
Mhm.
something I've been able to do. That's been very emotional and very incredible. That is my biggest pride from
Mhm.
immortalizing these videos on YouTube, and and
Mhm.
and also I've been there recently, so I know what's happening now.
Yeah.
I know about what's going on. I know about all the
Right.
plans. I know what David Miscavige is saying to Malcolm. I know
Mhm.
I'm kind of up to date with the stuff, which is also
Yeah.
quite handy. But I'm happy when people reach out or
Mhm.
people provide information or when people speak out for the first time. That is my biggest fucking pride from doing this stuff.
That's so nice.
Yeah,
I don't know if you feel this way, but like because I was recruiting the public to then turn around and like advocate for the public in the opposite way does feel very healing. Like
yeah,
being able to,
yeah,
I don't know, it's not really like make up the damage, but just contribute to balance the scales a little bit. Yeah.
completely.
Well, I could see you being very, very effective with the like young adult college
Yeah,
aged crew. And I could see you saving quite a few like lives and heartache for people who are like in your same position who maybe are thinking, oh, maybe that's a group I should join.
yeah, could
Yeah,
very well be. Yeah, I mean, I think open dialogue is the most important thing, and the
definitely.
willing, just be fucking curious. Just be
Right.
curious. Ask questions. Because as
Yeah.
soon as someone says, stop asking too many questions, ask more questions. Find out stuff. Be curious.
Right.
Why is it like this? Why do you do that? Why,
Mhm.
if it's legit, it will stand up to scrutiny. Um, but just be curious. I think that's because curiosity got me in and curiosity got me out. Curiosity led me to reach out to people and find out the truth. Curiosity allowed me to go to the library and read books on it and check the internet
Mhm.
for it. Curiosity led me to, just being a massive advocate of free speech and wanting to speak to people and find out, like, who worked with L. Ron Hubbard, who worked with David Miscavige, who was there with him every single day, who helped, who was L. Ron Hubbard's auditor. Why is he a declared special person? And that goes with anything, right? That goes
Right.
with the Trump administration. I mean, there's literally
Right.
someone who just left the Trump administration not too long ago, speaking out about, against things, right? So I think just be curious is the main thing and ask questions.
Yeah, that's great. Piece of mind put on
Yeah,
me. I've never heard this quote before. I would rather have questions that can't be answered than answers that can't be questioned. That is awesome.
exactly.
I feel like we should make
Exactly.
a sigil or like a symbol for that statement. It's so powerful.
Go for it. Yeah.
We should. It's really cool. Awesome. Well, I think we can wrap it up. We've been on here a while. I don't want to take up all your day. Thank you for talking to me and for coming on here and just being game to like have no plan and just chat.
Yeah.
I love your vibe. And if there's ever anything, I can do to support you or like whatever, lift you up in some way, I'm down or collab or all the things. And I will definitely be looking forward to when you are feeling comfortable and ready to release your plans. I'm back.
Yeah. Can't
Back
wait.
you up.
Can't wait. I love your title of the video too, ex-Scientologists walk into a room. I
Oh,
like that.
I'm glad you said that because it was funny when I wrote it. I was like, I hope that he doesn't look at this and be like, what a weirdo. But
I
you
love
would
it.
be
I
right
love it.
if you looked at me and said, what a weirdo. So you wouldn't be wrong.
No, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Liz, thank you for having me. I mean, it's
Absolutely.
lovely chat as always.
Yeah. And honestly, I didn't tell you this, but I spent a month in Edinburgh when I was also 19. Right when I got back is when I joined staff. And
Whoa.
I loved it. And I always have wanted to go back one day. So maybe I'll hit you up one day and we can do this in real
Let's
life.
make it happen. Yeah. Or maybe I'll come to the States or something. We'll see.
Yeah, hell yeah. Awesome.
I
All
love
right.
it.
Well, I guess we can say bye to everybody. And then will you stick around for a second after my intro and I can
Let's do it,
say
Liz.
what's
I
up?
love it.
Okay, cool. All right. Bye, everybody. Thank you for being here.
She knows herself, she finds her way. Through art and joy, she shapes each day, crafting beauty.